So that's an entire topic that we wanted to talk about, but we didn't quite have time. So I think maybe we should briefly touch on it. The topic is basically monetization, right? So how to make your server make money so that you don't have to shut down, so you can pay for yourself. Um, and pure donations is one way to do it. And that's actually how MCPVP started off. We started off with pure donations. And basically for us, it didn't work. Um, we barely made any money at all. It cost us easily 10 times the money we brought in from our server. And we almost shut it down. What we ended up going to is a monthly subscription service. And we were real specific in that we did not want to ruin the gameplay by providing features that gave users more power over other players. We wanted to add more convenience features. For example, normal players get 3 warps, VIPs get 5 warps, and MVPs get 10 warps. And so, a warp isn't something that you can use in PvP to your advantage. It's just something that helps you get, back to your base faster, or, to your favorite mining spot more quickly. And so we try to add convenience features and sell those for $5 a month or $10 a month.
Another thing that we have, so we have it a little bit different with the whole donations. We actually get quite a good number of donations coming in. So for, we have like one pack that will allow you to fly and very basic item spawn. You can't, item spawn. Like, you have to be careful about what you let people item spawn, of course, because you don't item spawn things. But anyway, we have that pack. Then we have another pack that allows you to
yeah, basically you just want to sell things that you think would enhance the player's game experience, and that could help your server survive. All right, anyone have a next question?
Sure, back here on the left.
So, would you recommend like renting a server from multiplayer game servers, or making your own?
Basically, yeah, I mean, there are many different hosting services out there, and it's dependent on the price of what you want to pay. And you have different packages of how many players can actually access your server. So it's all dependent on what you want to pay. There are competitive prices out there for you to choose from. But a few good ones are like multiplayer, and there's also PC ones.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely, especially if you're not very technically efficient, then you should definitely use a server hosting company because they really dumb things down for you and make it super easy to get a server up and running. And if you want to try something new, if you have an idea, and you think it might be a big success. I mean, the best way to do it is just start with a really small server. Even an 8-person server. And that's not going to cost you very much per month. And so you can use test out your idea with a minimal investment using a server hosting company and not a ton of effort getting everything put together. Then as you grow, maybe you can graduate to something something a little bit technical or maybe it costs a little bit more money. But when you're first starting your server, I definitely suggest that you find a very low cost option. Next question. Director.
Yeah, banning is something you want to do only if that player is causing you over time or other players. So there are plugins like Disneyland where there are guidelines for ban players globally, which will affect representation. But I only ban people if they cause our server. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, basically the way MCPP looks at it is if you are driving away more players than yourself, then you should be banned. Now I say that if you're being annoying, the only reason we ever banned people was for hacking. And hacking ruins the gameplay experience for other players. Um, so you may lose one player by banning them permanently, but you're going to gain a lot more players because they're not going to be hopping on the server and seeing people flying through the air and saying, "Oh, hey, unfortunate that you have to ban people occasionally. But I think it's definitely a good policy to keep your ban as minimal as possible, but it's certainly necessary.
I think especially with bans, one of those, the number of bans, I mean, yes, there are some that happen because of like red flags that are attributed towards banning services. But I think one of the biggest things is as you as an owner of a server, you need to realize, or you need to look, say, hey, if a lot of people are getting banned, there might be a very good reason that they might just be bored, okay? And that's the biggest thing, is that I've had plenty of cases on servers where people would come on and then they would grief, you know, because they were bored, they didn't know anyone on the server, they thought it was gonna be fun, but then they're like, wow, this is really boring, and then they just get banned, or they go to the next server. But the thing is that those same people, some cases, when they found friends, when they got together and started building with each other, no more banning, no more griefing, no more, you know, being annoying because they found someone. So if you feel that you are banning more people or you're having to do something like, you know, Tim ban or whatnot, think about it, is my server entertaining enough, or am I being able to direct people to meet each other easily on a server, or are they like being sent out in, you know, some random place, or it's just too big? Stuff like plugins, I do assist that as well with creating borders. Not only is it a great thing to keep your server load light and so it doesn't crash, but it also forces people to interact with each other. And that's one of those big things you got to keep in mind when you see or feel yourself that you're banning too many people. You can rehabilitate people. You have to be proactive with it, and your staff has to be on the ball with actively running for that. And that's obviously much more for people who have a maintainable, you know, 100, 150 people. You know, as you go higher, you have multiple servers, it gets kind of lost in transition, but that just means you need to up your staff load. So.
I just want to add one quick thing. When you ban somebody, you have to warn them first. A lot of times they're doing something against the rules and they don't even know it's a rule. So you have to warn them. If you just start banning people left and right, the other members are going to see that, they're going to get intimidated, and they're just going to leave. Also, when you do ban people, you have to have records of it, because we allow the option that if someone's banned, they can post it on our forums and try and get that ban off of them if the follow system. But if you have the records and you know that they were banned you know, recently, then you keep the ban on them. Otherwise, you can see that, oh, this person got banned for no reason whatsoever, and you take the ban off of them. As long as they have options and understand why they're getting banned, or, you know, for warning, then that's a good way to set up. Any other questions?
I spend a lot of time with permissions to make sure that the people that use my server have got the correct rules and they can do what they want to do. And by and large, most of my users all know each other and they've all got quite a lot of powers. But they tend to find the bugs that you can't think of as an admin. For example, I set some world guard areas and the users found out that they could world edit through them. They couldn't go into that area and do a world edit. If they sat outside and made a box bigger than the guarded area, they could grief it that way. How do you go about not so much setting those permissions, but identifying perhaps who has done something like that on a server? If somebody's used world edit to blank an area, I found it quite easy to restore that with backups and to get things back, but it's a hassle. I'd be more interested in knowing how to identify who's done certain actions on a server so that you can be able to speak to them and ask them not to do it. And that's been the hardest thing for me, understanding what users are doing on a relatively low population server where you might only have a couple of people on overnight and you don't get to be on there with them.
So basically you're saying how to prevent World Guard from being exploited?
I think that there's not a lot you can do to stop it being exploited. It is a bug that you can world edit through a world guard area. So given that you can't necessarily stop every bug, how could you identify which users are performing which actions. Is there an easy way of going through the logs, for example, and say only these 3 people have used a world edit command in the last 24 hours to help you identify who the person might be?
Your log, you can actually set WorldGuard to show what commands have been used by a player. So that's in the setting that you can edit, and it will show you who used WorldGuard and at what coordinates they were using. So that's one thing, like, you don't want to have people with WorldGuard that don't know how to use it, because it does cause downtime issues, and there's no way to really roll it back unless you have a backup. So, but
so that's going to end our Q&A here. We're out of time, but I think we're probably going to be available if you guys want to. If you see us around, we might meet right outside here. If you have any specific questions that we didn't answer. So I really appreciate everybody coming and supporting us, and hope you learned